I do have to say, throughout my many years of gardening, one of my favorite aspects of it holds true year after year, and also no matter what variety of plant as well, and that is propagating and division. I just think it's so much fun to multiply our plants that we have and to watch our collection expand in an exponential way around the garden. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how we're going to be propagating our dahlias this year. You can propagate your dahlias when they are full grown and growing by cuttings. I actually have a video that I made last year on that a lot of people have found very helpful and have loved to do in their home. So I'll have a link to that in the description below. But specifically in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to propagate the sprouts that are coming off of the dahlias here that we dug up from the ground last year. On this dahlia right here, we've got little sprouts shooting up right by this main stem. And what we're going to be doing today is planting this in the soil in a fashion to where we can snip off those sprouts once they are a couple of inches in height. We've just got some regular potting soil in here. You want to make sure it's nothing that has too much clay content or something that's going to hold a ton, like way too much water. You do want to keep these things moist while they're growing like this, but like any other plant, you don't want to have them sitting in water, so just a nice potting soil would be fine. I like a good mix of peat moss, regular soil, and then if you need a little bit of extra drainage depending on your container, you can add in some coarse sand or perlite. Vermiculture is also a good thing to add into these mixes. Really helps aid the plants, but I'm going to show you guys just how we're going to lay out this plant here. We're going to have it peaking just above the soil a little bit, where normally you would bury this in the garden if you're growing it outdoors. Just like when you're not propagating it, you would bury this completely under the soil. But when using this process, we're going to have it peaking just a little bit up out of the soil. I'm going to show you what that looks like right here. So right there you can see our sprouts coming up out of this, and you can also see demonstrated that this thing is not completely in the soil. Now this right here I'm probably going to end up cutting off, because since it's totally above the soil, it's not really going to be doing anything. It's not going to be bringing any energy into the plant, but all of these other ones here will be bringing energy into this plant, and then we're going to start to see sprouts come up out of it. So I'm just going to cut this other one right off of here. It looks pretty rough. Normally if you got some sections of this that was attached to the main portion and looked pretty good, not dried up at all, you could actually just plant this piece too. Dahlias are pretty cool in the fact that you can kind of split them apart, this whole rhizome section, and grow each of those little tubers. So it's a really interesting plant. The more that I've learned about it, the more I have wanted to grow it and propagate it, and especially with all of the different varieties. There's so many beautiful dahlias. They get gorgeous flowers, just massive flowers, some of the biggest flowers that you can see in the garden. And they're also, the way that the flower buds out and the symmetry to that flower is outstanding. Like there's almost nothing else like it in our garden here. So that's why I found more and more interest in that dahlia. So now that we've got this prepared, we're just going to give it a nice watering. We're going to thoroughly soak the medium here on this first watering, and then we're going to make sure that it stays damp. But again, really, you don't want it to be really wet. This terracotta pot is going to help make sure that it's not going to be too wet, because this does soak up and evaporate a lot of water using terracotta pots. But you do want to make sure that your soil is just evenly moist during this process to help encourage that plant to grow. You guys are going to love this. It appears as if my son has replaced my watering can with his. So this is our watering can for today. Let some of that water soak in there, and then I will continuously water it again. In the meantime, while we let that soak through a little bit, we're going to give it a couple of nice waterings. I'll talk to you guys about something else that we're doing today. In this seed starting tray right here, we've got a bunch of different flowers growing by seed. And this is a little bit of an experiment because I did not use any stratification process in these seeds. If you don't know what stratification is, that's basically you would take your seeds, put them in the fridge for a couple of weeks to a month, and then germinate them after that point. That kind of duplicates the winter season that these seeds would normally see, and then when they get warmer temperatures, then they are going to germinate and grow. So what I'm doing with these seeds as a part of this experiment is I'm not going to do any stratification at all, and then I'm going to be growing them in this greenhouse here. Right now it is about 70 degrees in here, but it does drop down to I would say like 40 degrees at night. So it does get cooler temperatures, but I'm really interested to see which one of these seeds or which ones germinate and which ones don't without any stratification. A lot of these aren't like native to any cold climates, so I don't think I'm going to have much of an issue. But just for experimentation's sake, and I'll jot it down in our gardening journal to see which ones germinate or not, I'll give you a list of everything. We've got a beautiful columbine that we were growing at our condo. Just one of the most massive columbines I've ever seen before. I've got a couple of videos on that because it was so incredible. I just had to document it. So hopefully we can get some of these to germinate. If not, I've got hundreds of seeds, if not thousands, indoors of that I will I will stratify and then germinate after that point. We've got a perennial sweet pea. This is a perennial vining pea that puts off some beautiful flowers. And I don't even think it doesn't really put off, it's not like an edible pea as far as I know. I haven't done much research on it, but that was growing. I think somebody planted it out natively. That one might have to be stratified, but again, this is part of that experiment to see if they do or not. Purple hollyhock. Then we've got birdhouse gourd, Siberian iris. That one will be interesting. I think it's probably going to need stratification. We've got blue bachelor buttons, pink Alaskan flowers. We don't know what variety they are, but that's just what we labeled the seeds when my mother-in-law had collected them. There were a beautiful variety that her parents, I think, were growing, but they didn't really know what it was either. So it'd be interesting to see what they actually are. And then we've just got a general sedum and then some sunflowers here. We'll be growing them out here in the greenhouse, bottom watering them with this container here, just keeping that soil evenly moist throughout the time here. I will be making sure, God, I love this watering container. I think that's enough water for this dahlia here. On those seeds, I will be checking them every day to see when they germinate, and then the ones that do germinate, I might bring them indoors because I don't want them to get too cold after they germinated. I want them exposed to this colder temperatures at night to see if we can get that cycle going. But after that point, I'm going to be bringing them indoors. And then this dahlia here too, we'll be growing this indoors as of right now because it's going to be too cold out here for it to live. So we'll have this downstairs in our grow area where we've got all of our other houseplants and seedlings germinating for our upcoming vegetable crops. So it's going to be exciting. Stay tuned. I will have a fully cut video on how to take these dahlia cuttings once they start growing. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited for these few experiments here. I hope your guys' gardens are growing well. I hope you're having a lot of fun this spring, keeping busy with all of the planning, preparation, and I hope you all are starting some vegetable gardens. If you've never grown vegetable gardens before, definitely look into starting one this year. It's so rewarding to start building sustainability for your family in the form of food, and just something that I think everybody should learn how to do in one fashion or another. I just made a video on how to start a victory garden. If you guys look that up, I list off some ways to start it very, very easily, and then different vegetables that you guys can start off with that are almost foolproof and very hard to kill. So check that one out. I hope you guys start a vegetable garden this year. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.